This is the video to go over dividing fractions review 1. So for number 1, when I have 9/8 divided into 1/8, I get super excited because I see that they are unitized. So these are 8ths and 8ths. So if I have 9 of them and I need groups of 1 of them, that's pretty easy. That tells me that I would have 9 groups. Remember, it's like 9 dogs divided into groups of 1 dog. How many dogs would be in each group? 9. So this is just like having your unit, so we can really ignore that and just do 9 divided by 1, which is 9. Number 2 is similar, where it's unitized. However, it gets a little tricky because now I'm doing 3 divided by 2, but I can't do 3 divided by 2, so I'm going to use a number bond here. What can I divide by 2 that's hiding within 3? How about 2? So 2 divided by 2 means I have one group of 2, and then I have one piece left over out of the 2 that I need for another group, so I have 1.5. Number 3, same situation. We have units here, 15ths and 15ths, so I can kind of ignore those and just do 8 divided by 3. Well, 8 doesn't divide nicely by 3, so what number bond could I use? How about 6 and 2? So 6 divided by 3 means I could have 2 groups of 3, so that's 2 wholes. And then I have 2 left over out of how many that I need for another group? 3. So I have 2 and 2/3. So for me, of all the strategies we've learned, the one that would make these the easiest, most efficient way to solve would be unitizing. If you use the algorithm, that's okay. You should still get all these answers. If you drew pictures and did models, that's okay. You should still get these answers. So any of those strategies, whichever one is the easiest for you and worked for you, is great as long as you can get those answers. So now, down here we have 8 1/3 divided into fifths. Well, this one to me is pretty tricky because it's different units, and so for this one I'm just going to use the algorithm. So need to divide a fraction by these aren't fractions, so I need to change this into a fraction. So I'm going to do 8 groups of 3 pieces plus one more group. So 8 times 3 means I have 24 plus one more, 25/3. If you're having trouble with that, when you have mixed numbers, you can draw them out. Remember, you have 8 wholes. What size are they? They're in thirds. Whoops. Oh, and Greg Tang would say, Amy, you should be standardizing on rectangles, not circles. Circles are hard to put into fractions. You're right, Greg, but we'll just do the thirds for this time. So if I have 8 of these, that means I have all of these pieces here, which means I have 8 groups of 3 pieces. 8 times 3, that's where I get my 24. Plus I have one more piece, that's where I get my 25. And then what size are my pieces? These are all thirds. So I have 25/3 divided into fifths. That still doesn't help me. I could unitize them like up here, and I could do, so if this is 15, how did I get from 3 to 15? Times 5 was 25 times 5. That's 125. I'm thinking quarters. Divided by 15ths. What did I do to 5 to get 15? Times 3 times 3. So now I have to figure out how many groups of 3 are in 125. So I could break this into 120 and 5. 120 divided by 3 is 40. 5, I can break that again into 3 and 2. So that's one more. So that means I have 41 and 2/3 of another. So that's one option. The other option is to use the algorithm. Need to divide a fraction by a fraction. Please don't cry. Just flip the second fraction and multiply. So I have nothing I can cross cancel here. So I have 25 times 5. Again, that's going to be 125. 3 times 1 is 3. So now I have to divide it out again. So I'm taking 125. 120 is easy to divide by 3 and 5. So that's 4. But I can get another 3 out of here. So that really tells me I could have done 123 here. No. No, never mind. Sorry. So that's 40 groups, and then 5 and 3 and 2. So there's another group. So that's 41 and 2 out of 3 that I need for another group. So either way, you should get an answer of 41 and 2/3. 3 and 3/4 divided into 6 pieces. I could see if a model would be easy to kind of see that. So I know I have 3 items and then 3/4 of another item. So if I'm looking at this, can I break it easily into 6 pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Nope, 15 doesn't divide easily by 6, but that still helps me to go 15/4 because again, that's that visual of 3 and 3/4. 3 holes right here. So how many fourths do I have? I have 15 of them. Divided into 6 pieces, but that doesn't go easily. So I think I'm just going to go with the algorithm here. Need to divide a fraction by a fraction. Please don't cry. Just flip the second fraction and multiply. And I look here, I see I can take 15 and 6 and cross cancel them. I can divide them both by 3. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So now I have 5 times 1 and 4 times 2, which is 8. So I have 5/8. That can't be simplified any further. So there is my answer. So that tells me that up here in my picture, fourths weren't easy to divide by 8 or divide by 6, but if I would have broken these into eighths, so I kind of split all of them here, then I could have done groups of 6 somehow. I'm not going to take the time to do it now. 5 and 1/8 divided into 1 and 2/4. Again, not real simple to draw those pictures or to break them into those pieces. So for me, I'm just going to do the algorithm. So I need a fraction divided by a fraction. So 5 times 8 means I have 40 groups of 8 plus 1 more. That means 41/8 divided by 1 group of 4 plus 2 more. That means I have 6/4. I noticed across here 6 and 8 are both even, so I'm going to divide them by 2, make it a little smaller at least, and easier to multiply. 41 times, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Slow down, Miss Ruoff. Need to divide? Please don't cry. Just flip the second fraction and multiply. All right, so now I have 4 and 8 that are across from each other, which is still kind of nice because I can divide them both by 4. So that 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So 41 times 1 equals 41. 2 times 6 is 12. I noticed that this is top heavy. That 12 can't hold it up, so it's going to fall over here. I'm going to try to use a number bond to solve it. So I can't divide 41 quickly by 12, but what's a number close to 41 that I can divide by 12? How about 36? So then 36 plus how many more to get me to 41? So 36, 4 more would get me to 40, so 1 more would get me to 41, so that's 5. So 36 divided by 12 is 3. 5 divided by 12 I can't do, so I get 3 and 5/12. If you don't like that method, remember that the 41 can fall over into the doghouse. Jeez. And we can, how many groups of 12 can we make out of 41? How about 3? 3 times 12 is 36. Subtract that. What do we get? 5. 5 becomes my numerator. 12 my denominator. It'll be back. 3 and 5/12. So for this one, the easiest, most efficient way, I would say, is the algorithm. All right, moving on to the back. So on the back, I expect you to use the problem-solving steps to complete each of these. I hope that you read the entire problem, you write an answer statement, think about who or what is the problem about, draw a model to at least get you started to make sure you're cutting up the right thing or thinking about it the right way, and then solve. So I'm going to go through these kind of quick. You can read them on your own. So I'm just going to start with my answer statement. How many videos can Armour create? Armour can create blank videos. So then, who or what is this problem about? It's about videos. What do I know about those videos? I know that he has 8/12 of an hour. That's his total. So when I'm looking here, 8/12 is the total amount. So I'm going to break this into 12s. So I broke that into 6 pieces and then cut it in half. So there's 12, but I really only have 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have that. And then what I need to do is I need to figure out, it takes him 1/3 of an hour to do each video. So I need to break these into 1/3. Well, if I'm thinking about 12ths, what is 1/3 as a 12th? Well, 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4. So that means 4/12 is 1/3 of an hour. So this would be one video. This would be one video. So he would do 2 videos. If I didn't see the model, I would have done, okay, well, what is the thing that I'm splitting up? I'm taking 8/12 of the hour and I'm dividing it into groups of 1/3. Then I would have used the algorithm. Need to divide? Please don't cry. Flip the second fraction and multiply. I would have cross-canceled here. Divide by 3 is 1. Divide by 3 is 4. 8 times 1 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So either way, Armour can complete 2 videos. My husband was working on refinishing our kitchen floors. Sorry, I'm not going to read through all that. You should have done that on your own. So I know one side. What's the other side? So the other length is blank. Ooh, sorry, my camera's twirling on me. So again, for this one, I would have drawn a picture. So he needs to cover a rectangle area of 4 2/3 square feet. So if I'm just kind of drawing a rectangle, this is the area. I know that one side is 4/9. So I'm looking for the other one. So basically, 4/9 times what number equals 4 2/3. When I think about that, I think about like an easy fact. If I had 3 times something equaled 12, what could I do to solve that? I could do 12 divided by 3. So in this case, I'm going to do 4 2/3 divided by 4/9. So if I have 4 2/3, I need a fraction divided by a fraction. So need to divide a fraction by a fraction. Please don't cry. You know the actions. So first, let's get this to be a fraction divided by a fraction. 4 groups of 3 pieces is 12, plus 2 more is 14/3, divided into 4/9. I don't have enough room here, so I'm going to go up here. I see an option here. I could change thirds to ninths and try to unitize it, or I could use the algorithm. I have so many strategies now. It's just totally up to me and what I feel more comfortable with. So for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and do keep the numbers small and do the algorithm. Need to divide? Please don't cry. Just flip the second fraction and multiply. I see I can cross cancel right here. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Whoops, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Here I can divide by 2. That's 2 and 7. So then I get 21 and 2. So number bond it. I get 20 and 1. How many groups of 2 can I make out of 20? 10 and 1/2 left over. So then it says, when you get your answer, draw me what the space he needs to finish might look like. Well, if one length is a fraction of a foot and one length is 10.5 feet, that means that he has a really long, thin rectangle that he needs to complete, because this one would be a fraction and this one would be really long. So the other length is 10.5. Unfortunately, I'm going to go into another video, so please watch this one, and then you can go to video 2 to check 9 and 10.